Welcome back to Thrive and Rise with Tiffany. On this episode of Part 2, we are talking love, narcissism, and boundaries. Valentine's edition with Dr. Napanji Thomas. So, we had a great conversation going for Part 1. It's about to get even deeper for Part 2. So, we talked about some of the narcissistic behavior and love, some of the early warning signs. We talked about boundaries and we talked a little bit about confidence and low self esteem. Let's get deeper into the confidence part of it. What's the difference between confidence and narcissism?
Hmm. Let me say that the factors of narcissism is a lack of self-esteem, like I said before. To be confident, one has a good sense of self, and a genuine care for others. So that's the difference, if that makes sense. Just being able to believe in yourself, but still have that compassion for other people. You're not going to do something that's going to hurt someone else intentionally. Unlike a narcissist, their confidence is overshadowing of their self in some form. And let me try to make that make sense for people. Um, a narcissist, their confidence is only going to be something true to themselves. They're not going to take other people into consideration. Um, so when they're, how does that look? It looks like arrogance instead of confidence. Um,
And having self-esteem, it's your esteem, first of all. But
correct.
there are times when your self-esteem could be low. There are times when your self-esteem could be high. It's not always going to be the same place. It can change depending on life and your environment and different factors. How,
Exactly.
however, what does a healthy self-esteem look like?
So, healthy self esteem is believing in yourself, knowing your self worth, now allowing someone else's thoughts and opinions of you to impact you. People can have opinions, but their opinion is not your reality. And someone with high self esteem, they know that, and they don't allow other people's opinions to impact them. Of course, we're going to have some thoughts about it and we're going to think about what they say, but we're not going to necessarily let it impact us for hours at a time. We
Yeah,
can listen to
absolutely.
somebody's opinion and be like, oh, okay, I can see that. But then
And,
we can move.
and it becomes constructive criticism at that point. It's the difference
Exactly.
between healthy constructive criticism versus someone's opinion or someone trying to devalue you, as the narcissist does.
Exactly. And even in that same vein, a healthy person will take that constructive criticism into thought and maybe apply it or say, no, this doesn't apply to me. But someone with narcissism, if they get criticized, they take it to heart. They get angry. They lash out. So even within receiving criticism, their confidence is now has struck in a blow, and they don't feel confident anymore. And now they're going to go and seek out some of that narcissistic supply that they need because somebody criticized them.
And they're busy trying to avoid taking accountability when
Mhm.
things happen versus someone with a healthy self-esteem would take that constructive criticism, process it, and decide whether or not it's valid and if there is some changes that need to be made and that
E-
they need to work on.
Exactly. And they're willing to work on those changes, um, and apply it to their life. Unlike a narcissist, they don't think anything is wrong with them, and everybody else's opinion of them doesn't matter. They're going to do what they want to do, and they don't care what other people think.
And the narcissist is always targeting the other person's self-esteem, or they go through
Exactly.
cycles because they will lift that person up, they will build them up, but then they are attacking the self-esteem during the devaluing phase. And over time, that can erode even a healthy person's self-esteem if it's the relationship is romantic or not romantic, like you said, if it's a parent, if it is, and especially a parent talking to a
Mhm.
young person.
Yes.
um and then over time, though, you listen to that for weeks, months, years, that can affect your self-esteem.
It affects your self-esteem. It affects your self-worth. It affects the way that you think. Um, Even about that person. If you have a person that's constantly telling you you're good or you're special, you're sweet, you're smart, and then they're telling you that you're dumb or that you're too fat or I don't like the way you look or I don't like the way you smell, that creates a cognitive dissonance within a person because your brain is trying to figure out um, why is this person so nice to me and then they're mean, but I still love this person, but they treat me so bad. So it that cycle begins to actually impact your brain chemistry and how you now view the world, yourself, and that person that you love.
Hmm. And now let's go into some of the most important questions that I think people really want to know when they're in these types of situations.
Okay.
Can a person with narcissistic traits ever have a healthy relationship?
Hmm. With narcissistic traits, yes, you can have a healthy relationship because those traits um, you can work on those traits and you can change some of those traits. And remember, we're talking about traits, not a person with narcissistic personality disorder.
So traits can be changed if the person does not have the personality disorder. What if the person does have the personality disorder?
Well, usually people that have narcissistic personality disorder, they don't change. Um, and there's research back behind that they don't change. They can change momentarily, but long term, they will have to go through a lifetime of counseling and be proactive in that treatment and making that change. But normally they go back to the same behaviors
Now,
because
if a if a narcissist, what were you going to say? It's hard to what?
it's hard for narcissists to make change.
Now, what if a narcissist promises, they promise that they're going to change? They back it up with actions, with counseling, with church, with group therapy, with a changed environment. Is this real growth or is this manipulation? And is it safe to go back?
Oh, so in the narcissist mind, it's real, and the change that they're making is real, and the promise that they made to you in that moment was real. Now, a week from now, no, it's not real. No, they didn't mean that they were going to make any changes. They only made the changes so that you can be quiet. So yes, there is a form of manipulation in there. It's always going to be that underlining manipulation. I can do this to make change, but those promises never come to fruition for an extended period of time. They can only do it for a short amount of time if they actually have um, narcissistic personality disorder. Um, and no, it wouldn't be safe to go back because however they treated you in the beginning, if they treated you poorly and you go back, guess what? The treatment is going to get worse because
No,
you accept it.
no, why is that? If they've gone through counseling, they're going through therapy, they're maybe they're in therapy for 5 years, 10 years, they're taking medication. I don't know, but
There's no medication, unfortunately, for narcissistic personality disorder. Um, Again, if they consistently are going through therapy and actively making those changes for years, they can maintain some of it and they're going to go back and forth if they're actually working on it. They're going to have lapses in their behavior where they go back to some of the toxic traits. It's natural because it's part of their personality. And that's the difference between the traits and the personality. Um, Personality, those are things that don't change. You don't change how your brain is wired, unfortunately. Um, you get what you get. Um, they can make a conscious effort to be in a healthy, stable relationship, but it's going to be hard work for them. I can't say that they can't do it. I think it is possible. But again, with hard work and knowing that they are going to have moments of where they lapse back into that toxic behavior.
so a healthy brain with work over time, you can change, you can grow, you can develop new neural pathways in your brain.
Yes, yes.
However, a person with a personality disorder cannot create new neural pathways. Is that what you're saying?
They can create new neural pathways. I'm not saying that they cannot. It's just hard for them to sustain some of those behaviors, even when they have generated new pathways.
So some behaviors may be modified where others will remain, or like you said, they'll time will after time lapses, they will go back to because some of the behaviors are subconscious. So they're not even realizing, even if they want to change, even if they are a self-aware narcissist.
Exactly. Some things just happen. It is what it is, and it's how they are. Um, and I'm not going to say that they were born narcissists because we know that to not be true. Some people are born with these behaviors, and some people develop them based on their early childhood and that environment. Um, so if a
What
person, so
what
go ahead.
role do childhood wounds play in attracting narcissistic partners? Because not only does the narcissist have childhood wounds, and let's talk about that, but also the person who is experiencing that relationship has childhood wounds as well. So what role does childhood wounds play?
That's a good question, and that's something that we rarely talk about is the actual person that gets into this type of relationship. What does that look like from their childhood? So usually you're looking at somebody that may have abandonment issues, neglect, um, a people pleaser, somebody that was a parentified child, meaning that they had to take on that parent role with their siblings, or even with their parent. Maybe they had a parent that was addicted or sick a lot and they had to become the parent's caretaker. So having that type of nature, that type of childhood where you were the nurturer, um, or that you didn't get the love of a parent that you needed, and you have a you have this empty space that needs to be filled, and that needs to be filled with some type of love. So in the beginning, like we said, the narcissist is very charming, very loving, and they're filling that void for you. Um, so those are some of the early childhood wounds. So neglect, abandonment, um, even not getting praise, being overlooked. Say you have multiple siblings and you are not getting the attention that your other siblings are getting. So you are looking for this in a romantic relationship.
Now, with narcissists, they have childhood wounds too, usually. I mean, sometimes you have the golden boy that becomes the narcissist, but on the
Hmm.
other end, you have the narcissist that was developed because of childhood wounds. And with two adults having childhood wounds, this can create a trauma bond. How does that trauma bond develop?
So that develops for just telling each other your stories. You know, when you are entering in a relationship, you normally discuss, you know, your past, your childhood upbringing, because you're trying to develop a relationship, even a marriage. So you're sharing those deep thoughts and experiences, and what the narcissist doing is they're listening to all of this because they're going to eventually use whatever you tell them against you. So while you're connecting over your trauma and you're sharing, oh, well, yeah, my parents weren't home a lot, and I had to come home from school and cook my own meals because my parents were working, or I was raised by a single parent. Whatever that experience was, or if you experience any type of abuse um, within your childhood, and you're sharing this and they had the same type of experience, now you're growing and you're like, oh, we have something in common. We both experienced this terrible tragedy from our childhood, and you're connecting. So
Are
that's what
you
that.
connecting or are you becoming codependent?
Well, in for the perspective of the victim, um, they are sharing a story. They don't know that it's going to become a trauma bond because they don't know what this other person, what the narcissist is trying to do. They don't understand that when the narcissist is asking these questions, it's not to learn about you in a caring nature. It's information to be stored to use against you later in the relationship.
And you mentioned different reasons why a person who has childhood wounds could be attracted to a narcissistic partner. And the fact is too that a lot of times narcissists are aware of some of these things and they're targeting people. Why do people pleasers get targeted the most?
Well, it's that one's a little bit self-explanatory because they're always trying to please whoever is in their life, and that's exactly what a narcissist wants. Somebody that's going to be easily controlled, easily manipulated, that's going to give them that validation that they want and admiration, because that's what a people pleaser does. They are there to make sure that everybody else's needs are being met, um, even to the detriment of their own needs. They neglect their self, their own desires, because the other person is more important. So people pleasers are the perfect person for a narcissist.
And so while a person is figuring out, hey, I've become a victim of narcissism or I constantly attract narcissists, what is it about me? That's one of the things that they need to look at is, am I a people pleaser? And how do I heal? What wounds, childhood wounds do I have so that I can heal or begin to heal those things so that I can break free of this cycle?
Yes, absolutely. You definitely have to heal that childhood trauma, because you're going to be in that constant loop of toxic relationships and even friendships that I'm going to say that you'll even attract friends that are toxic that'll use you because, again, narcissism is not just in a silo of romantic relationships. They're in friendships, they're in work relationships. So you may be in a narcissistic cycle with your coworker and you don't even realize it.
The manipulation and gaslighting are huge when it comes to narcissism. Can you explain gaslighting and manipulation for us?
Hmm. Okay, so gaslighting is a form of manipulation that narcissists use to basically keep you off balance and keep you second guessing your thoughts, perceptions, and even your experiences. Um, so, say for example, go on a dinner with you and your narcissistic partner, and they order say they ordered chicken and then the meal comes and it's chicken and they tell the server, I didn't order chicken. Why did I have chicken? I ordered steak. And you and the server are both looking like, no, you ordered chicken. No, I did not order steak. And they're gonna something just so simple, but yeah, you did order chicken, but now they're saying no, no, that's not what I ordered. You heard me wrong. So little things like that is a form of gaslighting and manipulation to keep you off your guard. Um,
How does that affect someone's emotional autonomy?
I think it affects it highly because it keeps you confused and it keeps you second guessing. And if you can't trust your own thoughts, how can you have emotional autonomy?
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of that manipulation to keep you controlled by the narcissist because if they control your thoughts, your
And your feelings.
perception,
Yeah.
yes, then they have you. You are literally walking around as an empty shell, and this person is leading you. They're controlling you. You can't think without them thinking for you. You know, if you have a thought, you have to check with them first.
Hmm. And
So,
then we talked about a lack of empathy. That's huge as well when it comes to narcissism. Uh,
mhm.
the lack of empathy when you are sick, when you are hurt, when you are being mistreated by someone else. The lack of empathy can come in every aspect of your life. It leads to them not understanding you, not caring about you, and it can
Yeah.
get very, very deep. What's the
Yes,
cost?
I-
What's what's the emotional cost of loving someone who can't see your feelings?
so I'm gonna share a story with you that I was told that I can share. So I had know someone, they went on a vacation with their significant other and they got sick on the second day of being on their vacation. And they were in the bed, couldn't move. And the person that went with them, their spouse, did not do anything, just looked at them, you okay? All right, well, I'll be back in a couple of hours. A couple of hours became all night. So they had to wind up calling the front desk and asking for medicine and all that. And for the next 3 days, their spouse was kind of just MIA, would come in at night and go to sleep, get up early in the morning and leave. Never had any care or concern about their wife for being sick. So,
Hmm.
so it's little things like that. So if you want to be in a relationship where you're not cared for, where your needs are not met, where your desires are put on hold, this is the relationship for you. This is the exact relationship that you need.
And it's it's difficult if someone hasn't been in it to even imagine a situation where someone just does not care about them romantically or care about their needs. But
Even as
it's
a
even
person.
as a person. But
Yeah.
then you get into it, not just from the relation aspect, but like you said, familial. Having a
Yeah.
parent that just absolutely does not care about your needs when parents are hardwired to care about your needs.
Yeah, they're supposed to be, but with a narcissistic parent, it's not like that. In most cases, they see you, the child, as a version of them. I mean, literally, like an appendage of them. So if you are, like you say, the golden child, and you do well in sports or you do well in school, it's not just your success, it's that parent's success, and they'll say, "Oh, yeah, we are doing so well in school, and oh my goodness, we're going to the championship." And it's not like they did anything to do it or to warrant them going or receiving your accolades, but guess what? They are going to take it as their own.
We have to have you back so we can discuss, the narcissism parent narcissist dynamic with a child. But do you, with the empathy part, what makes a narcissist not have empathy? How does that happen?
So is that's so that has to do more with science and them not having that um that neurotransmitter that that triggers empathy. It's not
Wow.
firing. Um
Wow.
yeah, so
That's
it's not like
interesting.
it is very, the brain is a wonderful, miraculous thing. And everybody has a brain, but everyone's brain is not wired the same. And we see that because no one person acts like the next, and that's how it should be. But when you have, it's just like somebody that has chronic depression or chronic anxiety. There's something in the brain that's not firing right. So the same with a person with narcissistic personality disorder. They aren't firing on all cylinders. So that empathy part in the prefrontal cortex is just not firing. It's not working.
Wow. That is very interesting.
Now they can
Because
fake empathy. Let me say they can fake empathy, but they can't
how do you
feel
how do you
empathetic.
fake empathy?
Well, you can say, "Oh my gosh, I feel so sorry for you," or "Oh my gosh, it was horrible that your parent died." So
Mm,
you can say it, but are they going to show you? Are they
mm,
be there for you? Say, for example, you do have someone in your family that passes away. Are they going to be that shoulder for you to cry on? Or are they going to just say, "Oh, I'm sorry that you somebody passed away," and then they're going to go out and do whatever they need to do, whatever their needs are? They're not going to be there to sit with you during your time of grief. They're just not going to be wired to do that. And if they do sit there, they're going to be doing something else. For instance, playing on their phone or playing a game. They're not going to really be focused on you. They may have their arm around you or something,
but
but
there's not going to be that connection. They're not going to be attentive. They're not going to think to say, "Did you eat? Are you hungry? What do you need? How can I be there for you?" They're not there to console you. They're just there.
exactly. That's exactly how it is.
How do
Very
you
important.
know? How do you know when a relationship is emotionally abusive?
So emotionally abusive relationship is when your basic psychological and emotional needs are not getting met. If somebody is constantly calling you stupid, if somebody is telling you that you could be better, or um, just kind of just wearing you down, not meeting you where you are. Say you're feeling sad and they're not attentive to you, or even if they
Neglects and abuse
work.
can be two different things.
Yes. So when we're talking about the emotional abuse, that is literally not caring for your emotional needs, your feelings of being sad. Um, they're not, or they are um, emotionally. So with
That caught you
the
off guard a little bit.
Well, yeah, because it's with the emotion. This is one of the hardest things to explain, because it's more of a feeling that you have. Some people may experience emotional. Well, we all experience it differently. So, um,
And there are purposeful actions that take place, like devaluing, that play into emotional abuse as well.
yes, it does. Like, excuse me.
And emotional abuse can sometimes have longer effects than physical abuse.
It does because it's playing with your mind. It's literally playing mind games with you, um, telling you that you're unlovable, or you you can't do well without me, or if I leave you, nobody else is gonna want you. Um, things of that nature, and it doesn't even have to be that severe. It could just be leaving you in a room by yourself.
And it all goes back to control.
Yes.
What boundaries should people have to keep them safe? What boundaries are non negotiable in love?
I would say good communication is non-negotiable. Um, I would say um, time is non-negotiable. Not wasting your time, being able to have quality time with somebody. I think that should be a non-negotiable. Um, I think not accepting emotional abuse or neglect. Those are non-negotiables. Um, and I
What
think I'm
you think
go ahead.
what?
And I was going to say, and I think that I would say um, violations of trust are non-negotiables.
Very good. What and those are really good ones that you just fired off. Why does love sometimes feel like validation chasing?
I think it feels like validation chasing when you are loving a person that doesn't love you back. I think that's when the validation, when love feels like validation chasing. When somebody loves you back, you don't have to chase it. They're going to show you, they're going to demonstrate it, they're going to tell you. But somebody who doesn't, that's, and that saying, that's not that into you, um, that's when it feels like you're chasing the validation, because it's only one way love, and that love is coming from one direction and it's not being reciprocated.
One of the things that narcissists victims feel greatly is a loss of their power, a loss of their voice. Their voice has been stifled. And sometimes you have to, when you're in a narcissistic relationship, sometimes you go silent because the needs of the other person, they've made it so clear that if you don't follow this program and you don't meet these needs the way I want you to, when I want you to, there are going to be major issues. So, for various reasons, a victim of narcissism loses their voice. How do they reclaim their voice back after experiencing narcissistic patterns?
So is this, if this is somebody that's still in the relationship or somebody that is now out of the relationship? Because that's going to look a little different.
Talk about both.
Okay, so if you are still in a narcissistic relationship and you're trying to get your voice back, so this is going to be a process. So you're in a relationship, you're trying to get your voice back. You start with little no's. You start with little, that's not how I see things, or that's not my reality, or that's your side of the story, but I have one too. So it's those small little um, steps of reclaiming your voice that you're going to be.
Mm.
And in a relationship, you have to be careful because it could become volatile or abusive. So being comfortable with starting, not necessarily saying no, but saying that's not how I see things. Or once you leave that relationship and you're reclaiming your voice, you're going to make sure that you have a support system around you that can validate your voice and tell you, yes, that is true, or yes, you are strong. Yes, I do remember that. Yes, that is how that happened. And as you have more people in your corner supporting you and letting you know that your truth is valid, that helps you get your voice back as well. But
And that's
counseling also helps too, so you can understand how you lost your voice.
and that is so important. That is so important to understand that. Why is it so important?
To what? Get your voice back, or to go to counseling,
To
or
go to
both?
counseling and to understand what happened. Why did you lose your voice? Why is that a part of what's happening to you?
So going to
And
counseling
how
is
important it is to have your voice.
okay. So that's a loaded question. I'm gonna try to answer every aspect of that. So first, it's important to go to counseling to understand how you lost your voice, so that you can't, so that you won't repeat that behavior again. It's always important to know the why, and then the how you lost your voice, and you'll go over kind of like the history of the relationship and when you and pinpoint the first moment that you start losing your voice and how it um, developed over time. And then you'll learn tactics and strategies on how to reclaim your voice, specific steps to do that.
And Dr.
So,
Johnson,
comments.
I'm gonna stop you right there for a moment because we are ending part two. I want to thank everybody for joining us on this episode. To hear the rest of it, join us for part three. I hope today's discussion has inspired you to grow, connect, and thrive in your personal and professional life. To further your journey of self-discovery and empowerment, we invite you to explore the Know Thyself book series, designed to deepen your understanding of self-awareness and personal growth.
People ask all the time, who the heck is low-cost airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines, and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now.
Call 855-662-0261. That's 855-662-0261. Again, 855-662-0261.
Hi, I'm the tax lady. Do you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS? Then listen carefully. You may be able to pay the IRS less and save thousands of dollars because right now there are special government tax programs for people like you who owe the IRS. We can even help you if you have unfiled tax returns. And if you qualify, you'll pay less money to the IRS or state. Stop worrying about wage garnishments and bank levies and call the number on the screen right now for a free tax review. We know what you're going through. We help good people like you every day pay the IRS or state less taxes all the time. If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, call now for your free, no-obligation consultation with a tax professional. Don't fight the IRS alone. Call the Tax Ladies team today.
Call the Tax Lady at 877-335-7471. Call now.
How'd it happen?
She showed up dead on arrival.
This never gets easier.
It does when you call CarShield before your car breaks down. Look at these prices. The camshaft, transmission, engine.
Don't people know? A plan through CarShield could protect up to 5,000 parts and systems.
You hate to see it.
An out-of-warranty car is gonna break down eventually.
Right, which is why they need a plan through CarShield.
Best of all, you'll get access to CarShield's concierge service, who can even help you find a mechanic near you.
They're notifying the family.
Poor guy, he doesn't even know what's coming.
Another victim of senselessly expensive repair bills. Can't save them all.
But we can keep trying. Didn't have to end this way. If he'd have just called CarShield before his car broke down.
Exactly.
CarShield has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau and was voted America's most trusted auto protection company. It's time to call CarShield now. Call 800-636-1039.